Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm doing my Plan With Me video. This is week 11. We are just moving right along through the year. This is a planner I made. I will link the playlist if you want to see how I made this from a garden seed catalog and printables and things. Okay, so much stuff. Okay, I did a video yesterday, which was the 16th, Discourse and Draw. And then I did the week 10 video. This is a Sakura Micron. I will link all the pens and products I use in this video in the description box below in case you're curious. This is 2 portraits all the way across. And if I want to finish this portrait challenge, I'm going to have to do 3 to 4 portraits a day to fill 88 pages. And I don't know that I have that in me. So I either take this challenge into April and do this sketchbook across 2 months, try and cram it into one, or my third option is to overlap it with April's drawing challenge. I don't know if I have time for that either. So I'm kind of at a crossroads with some of this stuff. All right, that's all filled out. I am behaving and doing my stuff. I'm just not doing enough of my stuff. Here's my other planner. This is a gallon leather with a Nolte cover, some stickers. Again, I'll link stuff in the description box. I've been filling in my monthly recap of what I've filled, how many videos I've done, how many things I've drawn. I've been doing notes. So my notes pages, here was January's notes, and I did a dividing line. I got rid of that. I have it on February too, but I'm not doing that line anymore. Here's my notes for February of what I drew and did. And I need to put in my March notes. Okay, so let's talk about, maybe we'll put the drawing on this side and make notes over here. So I did 14 pastel portraits. I need to make a note. Is this going to be an April challenge too? I'm not sure if I want this to be an April challenge. I kind of wanted to do something else in April. I kind of like doing something for a month, getting all my cravings out for that one specific drawing thing, and then changing it to something else. Okay, so week 10 video. And then I did Discourse and Draw video. All right. And this is just a Pilot G2 pen. Okay, so those are my notes for what I did from March 10th to March 16th. Now, I was thinking of doing a funny face. And I was also thinking of doing watercolor pencils. Now, I don't own the world's largest selection, and I only own some from one company. So these are all Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils. This is their Super Color 2 Soft, and these are their Museum Aquel. Aquel, yeah, I don't know. And you can see I have a lot of blues, I have a lot of purples. Yep, these are all the watercolor pencils I own. So, and I don't have a lot of green in here. So I was thinking of doing kind of a funny face expression. And I'm just gonna draw it, and then we're gonna add a little water over the top. A little slapdash, and I was gonna do some green. And this is the only green I own. I need to get another green. I don't watercolor pencil enough. Ooh, let me zoom in. Okay, and you can see my dates and my dividing lines. I do that with a Copic multi-liner. This is the warm gray. And this is the closest ink to pencil I can find that's really pale. Again, I'm done with Hobonichis just because I burned out of drawing across grids. That's why I've switched to this gallon leather I was holding in my shelf for way too long. Okay, The reason I don't watercolor pencil is because I end up grabbing my watercolors, and that's on me. That is not like anything negative to say about watercolor pencils, because I think they're a really cool alternative for folks that like to draw but don't feel completely comfortable with watercolors yet. And watercolors take some practice to get comfortable with. I need to figure out the angle of cat eye glasses, of how much water to use, how much water on your brush, if you do too much, like lifting and trying to figure out some of the techniques for watercolor. Like there's a little bit of a learning curve to watercolor painting, and it boils down to how much time do you have for practice. And if you don't have a ton of time for practice, you're in the majority of everybody else in the world that doesn't have enough time to practice. So you're not alone. That's not like a weird, rare thing. But what makes watercolor difficult is understanding what your water's doing. And a lot of times the water's really hard to manipulate, to control, to understand where it's going to go, why certain things are blooming, why certain things aren't blending the way you want. Layering, trying to figure out value and color range within a color. And then certain pigments just are a little different. Some are more opaque, some are more transparent, some are more granulating and break apart into particles anyway. And you don't get that sort of real opaque, clean line. There's a curve to watercolors. So if you don't have time for all that, and that's okay. We don't judge here. Watercolor pencils are a fun alternative. One, the cleanup's quick. You don't have to worry about them leaking, especially if you're taking them places and you're going areas and you don't want tubes or pans or things. You have to wait for those to dry to pack up. That can be a little bit much. And so watercolor pencils are kind of a fun, quick thing. Yes, the Caran d'Ache are a little pricey. My daughter has Prismacolor watercolor pencils, and those seem like a really good student grade starter. So if you don't want to spend a fortune and you kind of want to try it, or you just want to grab a couple pencils, I like those. I think those are great. Some of the cheaper ones, like if they seem too good to be true price-wise, they're not going to be very vibrant or bright or opaque. They're going to be scratchy when you try and add water to them. You're not going to get a really good clean coverage. I kind of want nostrils denoted somehow here. I'm going to try and do a funny face. And you're like, what are you doing? Funny faces. Because I'm doing portraits all month this month, so I need to do something silly. I need to get weird with it. So that's what I'm itching to do. But yeah, real cheap ones, you'll see each individual draw line and it won't be able to disperse that with water. So it looks more watercolor than sketch. So just keep that in mind when or if you decide watercolor pencils are something you're interested in, or you own some but you don't care for them. Maybe you just don't like the quality of them, or you just don't think they work very well. It's that brand, it's that company. It's student grade versus artist grade. Keep that in mind, that a lot of companies make really good watercolor pencils that break apart in water and look more watercolor than pencil when you're done. And you're paying for that, okay? Sometimes you have to pay for good quality stuff. And they're expensive. That's why I have such small amounts of them. Like, they're expensive. I acknowledge that. I don't mind. I tend to buy artist grade everything anyway, just because that's where I'm at in my art journey. I'm not really a student anymore. and that's okay. I have some student supplies. I have some Winsor Newton Cotman that are really fun to travel with because it's like a plastic set. I don't have to worry about it setting off metal detectors or anything. It's what you don't want to do, you know? When you go to the airport, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, that's my paint set. Beep, beep, beep. Breaking the law with art supplies. So I'm going to, yeah, okay. This is going to be solid color. I know, I'm making executive decisions. Maybe we'll have a little, to note a little eye shine or something. And I don't have to add water. I could keep this kind of sketchy. I mean, it's not meant to be colored pencil. So you're going to get a different quality of line weight and blendability here. So I wouldn't leave this as colored pencil just because I don't think it looks as smooth and blending as my colored pencils. I have the Faber-Castell Polychromos, and those are the artists. And I have a couple Caran d'Ache Luminance colored pencils. Sounds like I play favorites, doesn't it? I do like the Caran d'Ache products. Wow, this is really light. I apologize if this is light on the screen. It is a very gray day. I have all my lights off, so I'm kind of drawing in the dark, but I know my camera lightens up as it records. So I really hope you can see this. We'll go right to the line of next week. And next week I'll do the Aquarelle color instead of the super color, so you can see those are the highest quality watercolor pencil I've ever seen, ever used. I love them. I think they're stunning. Would I ever consider owning a set? Probably not, just because I own a set of watercolors, so it feels almost redundant to have a huge set of watercolor pencils. If I had 8 hours a day to create or could do that, maybe, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever own a huge set of watercolor pencils, just because I own so many watercolors. I do love them though. Just know that I love them all. Everything watercolor is just really, it's just a really cool concept, a really cool idea. Watercolor pens are cool. Okay, so you get the face. We have scrunchy lips, puckered up, silly face. Now we need an eyeball. We need an eyeball on this side, I think. Are we lined up? I never know if things are little cattywampus, if I've gone asymmetrical with it. I never can tell. And I know, you're like, well, Hobonichi would have helped with that, with their little grids, but I don't use the grids. That would make way too much sense. This is Monday. We need things to be wild. And we are going to give her the eyelashes we dream about. Okay. I've never in my life tried fake eyelashes. I think they look cool on other people. They're for other folks. But I've never tried them. I have no desire to try them. I don't care. My husband just laughs. Like, everything looks so neat on everybody else, but I don't need that for me. That's kind of where I'm at in life. Okay. So, is she born with it? Is it Maybelline? We don't know. Don't ask. That's her secret. Okay. And we're going to lose a lot of the detail once we add water. So if you want to keep the detail when you add water to a watercolor illustration like this, use a tinier brush, go slower, keep your brush a little bit drier than you think you need. Because once you add water, we need eyebrow here. It's a thing. Yeah, once you add water, you lose a little bit of that. So we need a little bit of eyebrow over here. Okay, and we're doing forehead. We can go in a little bit with forehead. I'm trying to think about the face shape, the shape of people, the shape we're in. Okay, green. I love green. I could use a dark green watercolor pencil. That would be awesome. Okay. And are we calling this done? What are we doing? We could do a little bit side face here. Just a little bit. Okay, that's my face. Now I have a pop-up cup here, and I am using the Winsor Newton Cotman watercolor brush. This is the 00. Sometimes it's written 2/0. This is a round. So we're gonna add a little water, and we're gonna go a little slowly. Some water-soluble pens, if you own felt tip pens, you can do your illustration with a felt tip pen. Tombows work great. I have done that several times. The Pentel Sign Pen works too. There's a lot of felt tip pens that when you draw and then go back over it with a thin layer of water, it looks like you've done watercolor. So there's tons of faux ways to do watercolor without owning them. So if you're not really interested in having a palette and having all the brushes and having, you know, the watercolor brush cleaner and all the supplies and all the things it entails, you can create the illusion of it without actually having to go through all those steps in that process. If that's something you want to try, there's a lot of fun ways to rework your supplies. All right. I almost need a bigger brush, and I have a bigger brush. What are you? This is a 3 round. I'm going to use him on the side here just to save time. But you can see, like, it immediately activates. So, and again, with coated paper, watercolor does get streaky. You're going to get lines. It's one of those trade-offs of coated Tomoe River thin paper, is just understanding that yes, it's really, really thin. You can have 400 pages and your book's only like a 1/4 inch thick. But because the paper's thin, one, it's going to curl. It's going to sort of, you know, buckle under the weight of extra water and stuff. And there will be hard lines. So we embrace the charm that is Tomoe River. I don't mind things buckling or curling or making crinkle noises, you know? Okay, so there is my water. Can you see her? Is she even visible? She's making a face. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little stipple in here. She's kind of funny. Like, she's somebody you definitely want to hang out with. Don't necessarily want to get in trouble with. She might make things worse for you. Don't do it. Okay. All right, we're calling that. I love cat glasses. So cute. Okay. We're calling this done. So here is the week. Here's watercolor pencils. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope your week is absolutely wonderful. I hope your Monday's tons of fun. And I will talk to you later. Bye.